Alright, so in this video, we're going to be going through and putting a new set of knives on the chopper. I'm actually a few days behind getting these videos done, and I just got done feeding here a little while ago. I got to run up in this silo, take a couple doors out. We plan on chopping till later on tonight. We're just about done chopping. Today might be the last day, but at any rate, I'm going to do it now, run in, take a freaking shower, and be done with it. But I did a review video here back a couple days ago, actually 5 or 6 days ago, for the Olight flashlights that I've been getting. I got a pretty good response out of that, and they are having a sale, and it's going on right now. For any of you that are interested in the lights that I shown in that review video, go ahead and click on the link in the description, and it'll take you to the website, and you'll be able to take advantage of the sale that they have going on. Now, the light I use, I carry this one with me every day. I've actually got it clipped to my hat. This is an i5T EOS, and then on my belt here I carry a Seeker 2 Pro. So with that being said, we're going to roll into this video. I want to thank you for watching, and we'll catch you at the end. Well, we are just getting done with it's like 8 or 9 acres here this morning, and this is the last field that we're going to be able to chop for probably half a day or so. Where we are right now, we didn't get the rain that we had gotten towards home, and where we have hay down. So we had one heck of a rainstorm yesterday that rolled through, and we got about an inch of rain. Well, we are west and north of the farm right now, and we didn't get any rain over in this area, but where we have hay down, we got a lot of rain. So we're going to jog this back to the farm and put a set of knives in it. Well, this is what we're working on now. I'm going to put a new set of knives in the chopper. We got rained out last night, and we got a lot of rain actually in this area, and where we have hay down. Where we were chopping, it wasn't raining, was it, bud? So we got that done. Now we're just going to try to kill some time here while we're waiting for the hay to dry out. We're going to put a new set of knives in this. They were going to almost make it, probably would have made it through all of third cutting, but I figured as long as we're waiting, we might as well change these out. Now, these knives have a hard surface on them, and you can see that hard surface just above my fingernail. There's not much left on here. And I had to sharpen these knives quite a bit because of the amount of stones that I was running in on this new seeding, and then that's the amount of hard surface that's on these knives when they're brand new. So we're going to do a time lapse of this job. Now, if you remember the last video I did, that is when we switched out or flipped this shear bar over, and we're going to take this shear bar out. We're just going to be stopping in once in a while, explaining what we have going on. I'm going to remove all the knives. I'm going to remove the shear bar. I've got to set a new shear bar. Well, we'll explain that when we get going along here, but we're going to do a time lapse on this quick, and I'll just stop in from time to time and just kind of explain what we're doing. I have both adjusting motors off. There's one on the left hand side, there's one on the right hand side. That will allow me to manually set the shear bar, and we'll explain that as we get going along here. There's a spiral band, there's a round band that comes up against the bottom of the knife drum. We have removed the shims out of that. We've got that dropped down as far as it'll go, so that when we put the new knives on, they will clear that spiral band. Another thing that we have to do, and we'll open up this case and we'll explain that as we go, we have to raise the sharpening stone up so that it will accommodate the longer knife on there. If we don't raise that up, that stone's going to be about this far down into the knife. When it comes across, it's going to end up hitting this first knife here. So let's get started on getting these out of there, and we're going to be able to get chopping in, well, a couple hours here. You going to get merging? Yeah. Junior here, he's been merging with his cousin Davey. So, well, I better get going on this, huh? Because you guys are going to have hay for me to chop, right? Yeah. All right, let's get going on this. Just stepping in here for a second, gonna explain briefly what we're doing. We have removed all the knives, and then I ran the wire wheel across the knife bed. That's this area here. Yeah, so we ran the wire wheel across there so we can have a clean surface to bolt that knife down to. I've installed a new shear bar. Like I was saying, the last video I did, I flipped the shear bar over. This shear bar has two edges. It has the back side, which the knife is going to come up against here now, and then when you wear that side out, you can flip it over, and that's what I did here the other night. You can just barely see the hard surface is about right there. Now, on the 7000 series choppers, they had a rod that you put in across the front of the knife drum here, and you set that rod in there, and then what you did is you set a couple of knives to that rod, and then you ended up putting a shear bar in, and you set the shear bar to the knives that you had set on that rod. Now on the 8000 series choppers, they give you a couple of these tools here. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to set this part against the front of the shear bar down in the main meaty area. In other words, if you had this flipped over, it's going to be rounded. So you set that against the metal part there, and then the tip of that is supposed to touch the drum right here. So there's a couple of different settings. There's actually 3 of them. And depending on how much surface area your knife has, that's going to depend on which side of this tool you use. Now, we have new knives going in, so we want the longest part of the tool, and I have got this set already. I've got my motors off in there. I don't have that tool that you get that you can plug in to the motors and do it electrically with a switch. I've got the motors removed, and I'm just using an impact. So I got the right side is set, and the left side I might have to do a couple adjustments to roll this drum back a little bit. And then I have washed all the crap off the drum. So I've actually, where am I here? I gotta read the tool. I'm actually a head too far. So I have to manually set this right hand side, and I have already torqued the 3 bolts down. So I'm gonna put that cover on. I'm gonna get this side here set, recheck that side, because when you move it you might end up cocking it a little bit. Then I can start setting all my knives in. Wyatt has taken these knife keepers. These go on top of the knife, and he has wire wheeled them down, and we can start with them already. So this is the old shear bar here. This is the side that was in there when we flipped it the other night, and then I flipped it over, and this is how much I wore off this other side in just a couple of days. So yeah, you can see the hard surface. It's a little more pronounced on this one. You can see it right there. The little deviation in the bar is your hard surface. Alright, we've got all the knives on there, and we set all of them to the shear bar as we use this tool here. Oh, where is it? This one. Right here, you use this tool, you put it against the face of the shear bar here, and then you run this tip back into the drum right there. Then that gets your proper distance from with the shear bar away from the drum, and then you mount the knives to the shear bar. Now all we got to do is we've got to torque these down, and we've got to shim up our spiral band down at the bottom there. We got this all ready to go now. All the knives have been torqued, shear bar is set. Now we're just going to run the sharpening stone over the knives to true them up even truer than they already are. We set them all to the shear bar, but they could be off just a touch. So we'll run that stone back and forth, and then we'll set the shear bar, and we'll be able to get chopping here. We are in the final step of this job here, and what we're doing now is we're sharpening the knives, and I've raised that stone up so it would clear the knives, and I've got it raised up too far. Now we're cutting. Got a high knife on that right hand side. What it'll do is it will true that knife to how the rest of them are. Every time that stone moves across, it hits this paw here, and it advances. It advances the stone, and it lowers the sharpening device down onto the knife. There's a sharpening stone, and you can see it right down on the bottom. Kick this up a little more. Alright, we ran the stone across the knife 60 times. Now what we're doing is we're adjusting that shear bar in. We move that shear bar out after we put the knives in so that we are sure that none of the knives hit on it. You can hear it knocking right there. So it detects that knock. There's knock sensors on that shear bar, and it's backing it away. It'll do that a couple different times. It has it figured on how many times it needs to back up to readjust itself. Now in the last video, some of you were asking where the magnetic sensor is. That is inside this bottom feed roll. This feed roll here and this one, they're both stainless steel, and it's got stainless steel hardware so that the metal doesn't conflict with that feed roll at all. So anything coming through here, if it's metal, if it's ferrous material, this magnet inside here will detect it, stop the feed rolls, and you have to back it out. Now, we're banged up here quite a bit just because of the amount of stones that we take in, and we're talking, you know, softball size stones. There goes that shear bar again. There's another set of feed rolls in behind here, and then you've got the knife drum with the shear bar, and then it blows it up through a transition chute up into the blower. There's an adjusting motor on each side. Yeah, it's moving the one on the other side. That one right there. We're going to have a little more capacity. That clearance between the knife and the drum is a lot deeper now. So you can hear that tick. It's about ready to go now. That tolerance between that knife and that shear bar is like, it's got to be just about touching. Alright, we're loading Sarah here right now. We're just getting chopping here pretty good after changing the knives out yesterday, and this hay got rained on here the other night, so it's kind of bleached a little bit from sitting in the sun all day yesterday drying out. But we got just over an inch of rain here on Tuesday night. It is now Thursday morning now, and that rain enabled us to get these knives changed out. So I got some nice material coming through the pipe there, nice consistent length of cut. As you can see, it's greener, a lot greener coming out of the pipe than it is going into the front of the chopper here. So we're gonna be done with this field here in a little bit of a minute, and Sarah's also gonna be loaded. We've got Jared on deck, and the next field we move into is going to be that field we did that test strip on with the bug spray. We had that one spot in the field where we didn't spray anything, so we'll be moving into that next year. Sarah's going to be loaded by the time we get to this end of this windrow here. So, can you wave, Sarah? Can you wave? Yeah, she can wave. Alright, so we'll load Jared next. Well, that's gonna do it, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you at the next one.